Yeah, let's walk through the process here. Number one, read your bylaws, check your rules, and make sure your rules are enforceable under the terms of your bylaws. After that, if there hasn't been enforcement in the past, do as Erin says, make sure that there's that warning issue to everybody saying, hey, we're going to start enforcing this. Then in your enforcement, make sure it's consistent and incremental. Somebody who has, a dog barking a single day, you can tell them, hey, listen, we've received this noise complaint. You may not be able to disclose where the noise complaint came from due to privacy restrictions, but advise them this is what's going on. And then you can begin to escalate that process, right? The vast majority of people in buildings are fairly reasonable. It's the outliers that are always going to cause us problems, right? Talk to them, have a discussion, say, hey, this is becoming, problematic. What's the cause of the dog barking? Can you have somebody visit them once a day? There are things you can talk to them about. You can't enforce this necessarily. Can you have somebody come and visit them? Can you have somebody take them for a walk? Is there more training that might be available for them? Have those conversations with an owner to give them those positive steps they can take to resolve that problem.
You will have to give an exemption for certified service dogs, assuming, of course, they are properly certified service dogs and not just a dog that you obtained a certification from some fly-by-night company operating on the internet for $100. If you do receive a request like that for a certified service animal, request the documentation for that animal, and then you want to double check that documentation was actually given by a company that is listed as accredited on the which
approved service dog organizations list of Alberta.ca.
That's right. Yeah. So if it's not on there, then you don't technically have to accept that. Now, when it comes to emotional support animals, it's a much more gray area. It's changing somewhat in other provinces, but Alberta's a bit behind. So there's no recognition for them here as of yet. Now, that being said, there is still a potential that if you get a request for an emotional support animal, that you may have to accommodate that request. An owner or an occupant with a legitimate disability, a recognized ground of or prohibited ground of discrimination, could potentially bring a human rights complaint against a condo corporation if a reasonable request for an emotional support animal backed up by a medical documentation and medical recommendations. If you have all of that and you still refuse. Non-enforcement of bylaws is generally not a good idea because it could prevent you from being able to enforce it in the future.
And there's a second problem, which is that if you're not enforcing your bylaws, you're always subject to a complaint by other owners for improper conduct that the board is not enforcing the terms of the bylaw. So
boards have a legal duty to enforce their condominium bylaws, and if they're not doing that, then they are not doing their job. They're not doing their duty. They are guilty of improper conduct, or subject to a court to decide whether or not they are guilty of improper conduct.